All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us today. As you saw from the communication, this is an overview demo for you of the ProfitKeeper platform. We have Kyle on the line today, and that's whose screen you are seeing right now, and he's going to take us through a full walkthrough of how to submit P&L statements, all the great tools that you have at your disposal with this platform, answer questions. So if you have questions throughout the presentation, please enter them into the questions box at the bottom of your webinar kind of toolbar, and we will answer as many as we can throughout the call or follow up with you afterwards if it's something that we need to get more information on. So with that, I think I will turn it over to Kyle. Kyle, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jill, and thanks for everybody jumping on in your busy days. We know that you are busy, and so we'll keep this, on time. Make sure that we end promptly. Of course, answer any questions that you guys have. But let me just give you just a 1 to 2 minute background on ProfitKeeper, because always trying to put myself in your shoes and thinking that you guys definitely want to understand the value of this going forward. And so what I'll tell you today is that ProfitKeeper and Kahala have a relationship that goes back over a decade. Our accounting platform has been used widely, but what we're about to show you today is our financial reporting product. It's a benchmarking analytics tool where financial statements are uploaded, and then we give you a lot of really great feedback for your business. And I'll tell you that we have nationally recognized brands that use ProfitKeeper for this very product. Brands such as Little Caesars, Sport Clips, obviously some in the Kahala brand like Papa Murphy's and Cold Stone, European Wax Centers, Marco's Pizza, etc. Some really large and some small, but ProfitKeeper has been doing this for quite some time. And so we've really refined the process to where we want to get something that is both meaningful and easy to use for you as franchisees. On a very side note, kind of a personal note, my wife and I are also franchisees of another concept. It's mainly my wife, because I have my role at ProfitKeeper. But we completely understand the demands on your time as a franchisee. So once again, I demonstrate today is kind of the ease of use of submitting a financial, and then ultimately the value of reporting that financial. So that being said, let me start from the very beginning. I want to help you understand what the experience is going to be. What you are looking at right now is a login screen. This login screen, I show it to you because kind of in advance, the way that I think of things is path of least resistance. I want to make things easy. I always save these types of things into my favorites so I don't have to remember the address every single time. There it is, members.myprofitkeeper.com. Once you get here, you will be given a username and a password. That username and a password will be sent out later this week. It'll come from an email that's labeled support@profitkeeper.com. So once again, you won't get that today or tomorrow, but it'll be the end of this week. Jill will send some follow-up communication on that as well. But what you're going to be logging into is a secure site. And when you log into this site, it will be branded and themed for your brand. So today, kind of the nature of what I'm doing today is we're doing more than one brand. So we're just kind of letting you understand that kind of generally speaking what you'll experience. But just know that this will be themed and branded and everything just for you. When you log in, your name will appear on a to-do list. The to-do list will have exactly what you need to do. This is a demo site that we utilize at ProfitKeeper here. So you see a few other things that are due for this, demo franchisee that don't necessarily apply to you. The one that will apply to you is one that will say you have a financial reporter item for your specific location. The nature of ProfitKeeper is that we keep track of every period so you understand what you reported and what you haven't. So all you need to do is just simply click on that link and it will take you to a specific screen that has the certified chart of accounts. And then you'll have a variety of different ways that you can upload the financial very quickly. Let me stop right here though and just talk about the certified chart of accounts. We understand that not everybody and their bookkeeper, their accountant who you're working with, maybe it's you, maybe you've engaged a bookkeeper and accountant to help you with your books. But we understand not everybody will have the same chart of accounts. So I'm going to show you in a second how the mapping tool works. But this is my demo site chart of accounts. You guys will see a uniform chart of accounts for each one of your brands that has already been kind of certified or approved. I'm going to go real quick here to the chart of accounts for Cold Stone, because this will be basically exactly what you guys will see as well. But just one quick glance over what you're going to see is in the sales, gross sales discounts. You'll see cost of goods sold, a labor section. All to the right here, these are descriptions of what kind of typically goes in there if you have any questions, and all the other operating expenses necessary to kind of run your business will be labeled here as well. So once again, don't be worried if you don't necessarily have some of these accounts. ProfitKeeper has a tool where we can take whatever you have and end up mapping it to the appropriate account. But I just wanted to show you this to help you understand that when we're collecting all of this information and as a platform going to then provide benchmarking analytics, understand that foundationally, at the fundamental level, you need to have one uniform chart of accounts. And so we've got that. And when you guys log in, you will see that on this screen. So my demo site doesn't necessarily reflect exactly what you guys are going to get for each chart of accounts. I just wanted to call that out. Okay, so when you log in, you click on that link and you see this screen. Basically 4 different ways that you could get your financials in here. 3 of them have to do with uploading and syncing, which I think are really easy. But let me first just at least state, for those of you who would like to do it, you can hand key it in, right? I personally think that takes a little bit too much time. And I know everybody's busy, but if you wanted to and you have your financial statement in front of you or on another computer screen, you could simply say, okay, my net income this month was $4,200 and I had food sales of $19,000 and delivery and catering of $5,000 or whatever it might be. And then you just kind of keep entering in all of your expenses. And once you do that, you just hit save and you're done. That's all you needed to do there. If you want a little quicker way, then what I suggest is coming to the right-hand side, upper right-hand side, and just click on import. And when you do that, basically it's going to give you 3 options. We know, statistically speaking, 9 out of 10 franchisees and their bookkeepers and their accountants use some, QuickBooks product. And so as a result, 2 of our options call out QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop. So if you have one of these, basically choose the radial button, click on the button to connect, enter your QuickBooks credentials, and now ProfitKeeper and your QuickBooks can talk to each other. If you have desktop, which I know some of you in the audience might, statistically speaking, just download this web connector onto your machine, and that allows QuickBooks and ProfitKeeper to talk to each other. We have free support that you got, and I'm going to call that out at the very end in the contact link, where you could call us if you have any questions on this. But those 2 probably should cover the most of you. For any reason, if for any reason you don't use QuickBooks, maybe you keep financials in Excel, manually, or you use another product like Sage, or maybe you're a large franchisee and you use a little bit more of a complicated or robust accounting system beyond QuickBooks, what you're going to do is you're going to upload your financials. And there's always ways that when you on an accounting software, you can just export as a CSV. In that case, you'll just do that. And let me just show you the quick mapping process, because regardless of what option you choose, if it's anything other than entering in your financials manually, which was the first option I showed you, if it's any of these 3, the very first time you upload your financials, the software just wants to make sure that we're mapping whatever you have for your chart of accounts into the official chart of accounts for your brand. So what that looks like is, let me just pause this for a second. I'm going to go and upload a sample financial statement. Once again, it might not mirror exactly what you have, but I want to show it to you so you can see it. So basically, when you upload you click on the next step, and then what it'll do is in the unmapped accounts box, it will have just pulled in everything from your personal set of QuickBooks or financials. So all of the accounts will mirror exactly what you've named them with the appropriate amount for that month that you're reporting. And the software is smart enough to know that when you go in that month, it knows what month you need, and it pulls that month from your QuickBooks. And then on the right-hand side is the quote-unquote official or approved chart of accounts. And so all you have to do the very first time you're in ProfitKeeper, and let me reiterate that, it's only the first time that you're in ProfitKeeper you have to do this, is you just kind of take whatever is applicable and you just kind of go down, and obviously I'm just throwing these accounts anywhere for the purpose of a demonstration. But you can see that as I drag them into that account, what happens now is the software will memorize that mapping and you'll never have to worry about that again. The only exception to that would be maybe down the road, let's just say you have added a new account, or your accountant did at the end of the year because they're doing some taxes and whatever, and then all of a sudden you go to sync up your financials in ProfitKeeper. It will notice that maybe those 2 new accounts haven't been mapped yet, and it will ask you to map those 2 new accounts. So this is a one-time deal in ProfitKeeper. This is the most involved that you ever need to be with our software. Because now after this, then all that you do now is just hit sync, and then you get all of the good stuff that I'm about to show you. So let me just exit out from the very beginning, and let me just show you once again what your experience will be. So after you log into ProfitKeeper, which takes, 10 seconds, what you'll do is you'll get your to-do list. You'll click on the specific period that you need to report. If you wanted to key it in, you could. If not, you click import after you initially set it up. And in 1001, 1002, all your financials, they sync, and you're done. So this is not an exaggeration that as far as your commitment, because again, I'm putting myself in your shoes. What do I have to do with this? Your commitment can literally be a 30-second, 1-minute process, every month, every period that you upload the financials. So we're not talking a big time commitment here. But the most important thing about ProfitKeeper is not just the process of uploading, that's the how. The why you want to use this, the why you want to go into it, the why that all the rest of our clients use it, is now we can give you some meaningful feedback to help your business. And how we do that is we provide visual analytics in the analytics tab, we provide detailed reports in the reports tab, and then we provide a financial or forecasting tool to you as well. I've been with ProfitKeeper for 14 years, and it's really funny the evolution that I've seen over 14 years. I came from a public accounting where we provided like certain, consulting and financial statement, kind of services for our clients. And when I got to ProfitKeeper, analytics was kind of a novelty. I would say now my assessment or my observation in the market is that this kind of thing is almost expected by business owners now. They want this type of information. So you have your financials being prepared by your bookkeepers and accountants, but analytics and benchmarking and seeing how you're doing and your trends, this is what a business owner would also like to see in a more easy, turnkey way every month. And so I'm just going to throw this out there for your consideration as a practice. I would probably say, because the brand is giving this to you, that you make a practice that at least once a month you're looking at this information. You got to sync it up anyway. So you might as well come in here and look at it. And so what you do in the analytics tab is we have a menu bar at the top. The menu bar is broken out by section. You can see income, cost of sales, and labor, so on and so forth. The first thing that we do is we give you a high-level report card. So you as a franchisee come in and you say, okay, in the current period, which is currently showing December of 2020, I did the following for my sales and cost of goods sold. Keep in mind, this is a demo site, so the amounts and everything don't necessarily apply to you. But the point is as a franchisee, the capability that I have is I can see that and then immediately compare year over year to that prior period, same period, just in 2019, that I did 121 last year. So I am down 13.3%. So the red arrow indicates a negative trend. Same thing with my cost, right? So what you can do in ProfitKeeper without using Excel or manual process is just quickly say, okay, well, just show me what I did, for the year to date. So basically, if I had December, it's the whole year. What did I do there versus what I did last year? Interestingly enough, it shows me that I'm up. So that's a key point here too, is just because you get a snapshot in time that you're off that one period, that doesn't necessarily mean as a whole, you know how you're doing. So in this case, when I do year over year, for the whole year 2020, for the whole year 2019, I'm actually up. So that's a good thing. And it shows a green arrow for a positive trend. Anything that is a positive trend is green. Anything that is a negative trend is red. So that's kind of how you read it. Then down below, frankly, this is one of the more, I would say, popular is the wrong word, but like the more meaningful feedback that we get from franchisees is like, we really like this, right? So this is dials that does your benchmarking. So immediately within your brand, what it's going to do is, if you're in the top 25th percentile statistically or the bottom 25th percentile statistically, it will show this dial pointed to where you rank within your brand for these categories: income, cost of goods sold, labor. I'll show you in a second where you can drill down into the detail. But at a high level, starting first, it's saying that we do this. And if we're in the top 25th percentile, hey, that gives us, a good indication that we're on a great path. But conversely, if we're in the bottom 25th percentile, obviously there's something that we need to address there. And so we probably want to look at that. Now, the nice part about the software is it will allow you to drill down into other peer groups or benchmarks. So at a minimum default, the way that we've set it up is that every franchisee will get a brand average and they'll get their state average, meaning they get a benchmark against the franchisees in their brand in their state. Beyond that, ProfitKeeper will probably be continually refined to add more benchmarking groups for you to make it as meaningful as possible. But that's how you do it. So every time you upload a financial, this updates, you get to take a look at that. ProfitKeeper will also track for you where statistically you're spending more money than the average of other people. Now, obviously, there might be reasons why you're spending more money than other people, so understand that when you look at this. But in general, how nice is it for a software to immediately tell you, hey, you've got all of these people in your brand buying the same product to be able to sell for cost of goods sold, selling the same product, especially if you're on your own state, same type of minimum wage requirements. And so why is it that you're spending more than everybody else? Might there be some possibilities there that you could become more efficient and therefore save more money, earn more money, that adds to your bottom line? So that's the kind of reason why you want to take a look at that on a regular basis. After you take a look at your report card, we have a scorecard, and I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but basically I just wanted to show you some of the capabilities. The scorecard shows you your P&L. It will give you color coding to indicate what percentile you fall into within that GL account. It will show you the trend of where you're going with that particular expense versus the prior period or the prior period from the same year. And then once you look at all this, like for instance, I might have some concerns here with all the red, I can come up into my menu bar into cost of goods sold and take a different look at it. And I can see, okay, for cost of goods sold, what are my trends in the blue versus the average in the orange? And every dot represents a period that's uploaded from a financial statement perspective. And then what I can do is I can drill down into each individual GL account. And why that's important is because if I'm spending more on that than everybody else, well, now I have the information and the knowledge that I need to then start making certain changes or taking action on that. Do I need to reach out to my franchisor? Do I need to reach out to another successful franchisee to talk about what they're doing to manage that particular cost? Once I do that, I can keep going into ProfitKeeper every month and monitoring it to see my progress. And you have the ability to, again, choose different benchmarks and choose different periods if you want in our software. And you can do this throughout the whole thing, labor, all of your operating costs. If you want to see pie charts, it kind of shows you the same comparison where it'll break out how your expenses break out versus how everybody else's or the average breaks out. So understand that when you submit your financials, ProfitKeeper gives you the capability to immediately come in here and see all this detail. There are reports that you can get as well. you know, financial statement reports that are in your specific format, ranking reports, you know, like maybe you don't want to go into every single, you know, graph and analytic. Well, what you can do is you can run a quick report, and instead of showing you graphs, it will go GL account by GL account and show you the color coding and say, okay, you know, here's where you rank in every single category. Here's what you're doing. So sorry, that's taking a little bit long to run. Okay, here it is right here. So, you know, top down, food, all of your revenue down to all of your labor and your expenses. Here's the percentile that you fall into. Here's the average for comparison. So these are, once again, are just examples of what you get. Now, finally, if you're looking at kind of a philosophy for ProfitKeeper that it delivers to you, the philosophy is we want to first show you the visual analytics in a turnkey, easy way first, so you can understand what your trends are, so you can understand where you're out of line. Then drill down into some additional reports. And then the final thing that we suggest you do is utilize our forecasting tool. And the forecasting tool is, I think, fairly simplistic. All it does is reflect the last financial statements that you've submitted in the actual amount column, and then it gives you a column to change that scenario. So if you made 60,000, what does it look if you made it to 85 or to 30 or to 25? And then once you submit those revenue amounts, all of the expenses update on your P&L. And we all know that there's fixed and variable expenses sometimes, you know, just because, you know, maybe cost of goods sold does keep the variable, but maybe there's some fixed expenses like wages where we keep those as dollar amounts instead. Or you know, maybe what we do is we gave a raise or we're making some adjustments there, we can change those dollar amounts. Or we go to your rent expense because we know just because you increase revenue, your rent expense isn't going to increase. That still stays at $6,400. So whatever it might be, right? You just change all of these amounts. Maybe you renegotiated a rent recently with COVID. Put all of that information in, and it will compare what you are doing in your current P&L versus what that scenario would mean to you. So ProfitKeeper really gives you a methodology to look at history, to then predict the future, and then you can refine that and get more specific and more specific. And why would we want to know these outcomes? We want to know these outcomes because we want to know what action we need to take, how we need to hold people accountable within our staffs. And I'll tell you, to end up on the last note, the applicability of this has been very, it's always been really great for me in my role at ProfitKeeper to sit in front of people, to, you know, talk about this, to train, and hear franchisees raise their hand and tell me personal stories of how they've used this to renegotiate their rent, how they've used it to renegotiate bank loans, on how they've caught theft. There's so many stories that people have shared with me because this knowledge is powerful. And in and of itself, the benchmarking and analytics are good to know, right? But the real power comes when you take the data and you then puts you into action on something to change in your business, or in the cases that I just shared with you, they went and used that as leverage for other scenarios. I've seen people renegotiate vendors with this information because you have the power of the whole brand behind you with the analytics. So I wanted to keep my comments to under 30 minutes, which I think we've done, because again, I want to be very respectful of your time. I want to make sure I'm trying to open my dialogue box and see these questions. I do have one question. Mm-hmm. It says, if you have two stores, can you see them side by side? The answer is yes. I didn't click on all of the reports here, but you have a side by side location statement feature here. So we don't have like hundreds of reports, but we definitely have some really good reports that you can utilize. So the answer to that question, I think by Nicolette, thanks for submitting that, Nicolette. The answer to that is yes, we can do that. Any other questions that anybody has concerning this at all?
Got a quiet bunch here today.
You know, I don't know if everybody's just submitting questions, or if anybody wants to, actually speak. But I think, let me just leave it with this. I said I'd show you my contact information, or our contact information. This is our contact information. So with a software like this, you have a lot of things that you're doing. If for any reason, when you get your username and password, if you need any help with your mapping, if you need any help just logging on, if you need anything at all, our support team is here to answer your questions. You can email us or call us directly, and we'll get right on the phone. We can do share screens, look over your shoulder while you're doing anything, because really, guys, this is a value and a benefit to you, and it should be meaningful and useful to you. If for any reason you're feeling frustrated, like there's no point in that, just call us. We'll totally help you, get you over that hump, because I really do truly believe that as you utilize this product and make this a regular practice of looking at it with your financial statements that your accountant or your bookkeeper may be doing for you, this can really move the needle with you as a franchisee and your profitability. So that being said, if anybody has any other questions, you can contact us. Jill knows a lot too, but you will be receiving your usernames and passwords at the end of the week. And that's it for me. So Jill, do you have anything else?
So you answered the one about the username and password. We just got another question. If you make changes to your data that has already been submitted, will it cause problems?
No, it won't cause problems. What you can do though is if there's been a material change, sometimes happens, you have a history of all the financials that you've ever submitted, and all you have to do is click on edit, and you can just hit resync, and it'll update that for everybody, for you, for your analytics, for everything. So yeah, no problem.
And then really, I just kind of want to reiterate, this is a great software for you guys to be using for yourself. As you can see, there's so many valuable tools to take a look, kind of a deep dive into your everyday operations, which is great. We will be sending out a follow-up communication, as Kyle said, this week, and then at the end of the week you'll get your username and password from ProfitKeeper. The email that I send will have a link to this recorded webinar, so if you wanted to go back in and watch through the different reports and how to upload and everything, that will be available to you. So just watch for those emails to come before the end of the week. And then we did just get a question asking how much monthly this is. This is at no cost to franchisees. This is a completely Kahala funded program. So it's a great tool, and you don't have to pay for it, which is fantastic.
And I can tell you not all of our brands do that. So that's really, that's awesome for the franchisees.
Yeah. And then other than what you've already showed us, are there any other like next level reports that are good for a franchisee to kind of dive into?
Well, yeah, I didn't hit on the reports very much at all. The only thing that I would say is, you've got a lot of reports in your financial statements. So I don't want to overwhelm you with, you should look at all of these too. The only thing that I would say is our reports reflect the chart of accounts that has been approved that you map to. So it is useful to look at some of these when you look at the income statements, because it's in the approved brand format. And then the ranking reports, there isn't a mapping report too. So for any reason, when you do your initial mapping, it will show you, you took this account out of your QuickBooks and you pointed it here, if for any reason you ever want to change it. But no, I think overwhelmingly what I'd like to do is just really keep this simple for you guys. We're going to have other services. We have, capabilities within our company that you could actually speak to people that can kind of take you to the next level on your analytics and graphs. I mean, these are people that have actually been leading franchise brands and everything like that, and they can kind of help, you think about how to utilize the graphs and analytics even more. But, you know, the tool itself is simple. So hopefully that's one of the takeaways that you get from this when you leave today is, okay, it's going to take me 30 seconds. I upload my financials, got it. I have a lot of feedback that I can look at then to take, you know, action in my business and to monitor my profitability. So that's, I guess, Jill, that's one of my biggest, hopefully, desires that the takeaway is here today.
Yep. And we actually just got a few more questions. Will we be getting a chart of account to match up from Kahala? Yes, you will. We will send those out. I'll include them in the follow-up communication that I'm sending this week so that you can have that to reference for setting things up. Once you get your login information as well, on actually Kyle's screen here, you can see that there's the approved chart of accounts is shown, and you can download that.
Which again was like, it'll be the same as Coldstone Creamery, right, Jill? It's basically this.
Yep. But yes, we'll send that out for you guys to see. And then you've talked about the P&L, yet there's a balance sheet report. Is my entire chart of accounts being pulled into ProfitKeeper?
My understanding is the way that we've set it up now is just the P&L, but Jill, you can correct me. Because ProfitKeeper does have the capability of doing both, but it always varies by brand on what they want. And I think as of right now, it's just the P&L.
Yep. All right. Can ProfitKeeper send info on their accounting product like QuickBooks?
Yeah, happy to. Just someone email me on that. We're working on a new product that everybody. So ProfitKeeper started with an accounting product, 14 years ago when I first joined the company for my accounting firm. But the way that the market is going, like I said, almost 9 out of 10 small businesses use QuickBooks. And so ProfitKeeper has created, we're actually working with Greg Poindexter at Kahala to create an import with the POS system that automatically comes into QuickBooks Online. Like ProfitKeeper does the technology and we do the imports and the debits and credits. That automatically does all your POS information and accounts for all that into your books, but we do it into QuickBooks in a new product now because it just seems like everybody's using QuickBooks. But regardless, email us and I'll tell you all about it and you can see if it's a fit for you.
Okay. And then one more. Historical data would be extremely helpful. Will we be able to upload all of our 2020 or month by month if we choose? Currently, I believe, and Kyle, I'm not sure if you know this or if this is a Monica question, but currently we have it set up to be the start date is January 1st, 2021. So I'll have to get back to you, Stacy, on if we can do historical data or if it's just a start fresh for 2021. But I will follow up with you in email after this. All right. I think that is all of our questions for today. If any of you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to your RDO or brand leader, or you can email myself directly. I'm happy to help. And then, of course, once you receive the login information and everything, there's all of the support information from ProfitKeeper on your site. And you'll be able to get in contact with them and, as Kyle said, walk through the process together for the first time if you'd like to do that. We're all here to help, as this is going to be a great tool for everyone. So I appreciate you guys jumping on today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Kyle,
yeah, thanks so much, everybody.
Yeah, and thank you, Kyle, for taking the time to do this today.
Not a problem at all. Everybody have a great day.
You too. Thank you.